Good evening, everyone. I'm Alex Perche. Thank you so much for joining us on War with Iran. And we begin tonight 7 days into the war with Iran and the alarming new development. Sources tell ABC News that Russia is providing Iran with intelligence on U.S. targets. Tonight, U.S. Central Command releasing videos showing an airstrike on an Iranian drone carrier out at sea, smoke and flames coming from that vessel. And today, many more explosions were reported. Israel claimed more than 400 targets were struck across Iran, including ballistic missile launchers. The Israeli military also ramped up attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. More than 300,000 people now forced to evacuate. Iran still with hundreds of missile launchers active. Take a look at this large fire burning at a Kuwait air base used by a U.S. military. The U.S. embassy in Kuwait is now closed. And new video tonight shows the moment a U.S. F-15 was mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti defenses. One of 3 American fighter jets lost to friendly fire. Tonight, a White House official confirmed President Trump will attend the dignified transfer of 6 Army reservists killed in Kuwait when they arrive at Dover Air Force Base tomorrow. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leads us off from the region once again tonight.
Oh! Tonight, President Trump demanding Iran's unconditional surrender as the US and Israel intensify attacks. And in an alarming new development, sources telling ABC News the US believes Russia has been providing Iran with the locations of American troops in the region, including aircraft and ships. Just today, Iranian missile debris igniting this fire at a military base in Kuwait, where US troops are stationed. No injuries reported. The White House trying to downplay the impact of Russian interference.
It clearly is not making a difference with respect to the military operations in Iran because we are completely decimating them.
But in another sign of potential escalation, tonight 3 US officials telling ABC News the Army abruptly cancelling a major training exercise for a unit of the 82nd Airborne Division that oversees deployments. That move fueling speculation the 82nd Airborne, the Pentagon's premier ground combat unit, may be getting ready to deploy to the Middle East if needed. But officials stress there are no orders to deploy right now. Iranian officials warning thousands of lives would be lost if the US sending ground troops. Tonight, with the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, now moving into the Red Sea, the Pentagon saying the US has struck more than 3,000 targets in Iran. Israel releasing dramatic new video. 50 fighter jets striking the late Ayatollah Khamenei's underground bunker complex in Tehran. Israel saying senior Iranian officials were still using it, but no word on the fate of those inside. And Israel expanding strikes deeper into Lebanon, relentlessly bombing Beirut in an area known to be a stronghold of the Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. Our Matt Rivers on the scene.
There's another missile coming in right now. You can hear that explosion there. That was the second strike. There was one just before that, and that comes after a series of strikes all day long. And as we move into the night, it could be a very long night for the people down there.
Long lines as hundreds of thousands race to escape, warned to evacuate their homes by Israel. And tonight, new details of that horrific strike on a girls' school in southern Iran on the first day of the war. Iran saying 168 people were killed. A child's textbook covered in blood in the aftermath. Sources say that while the US investigation into the incident remains ongoing, officials believe it's possible American forces are responsible for the attack because they were conducting strikes in the vicinity of the school at the time of the incident. Retired Master Sergeant Wes Bryant, who works in the Pentagon office that assesses civilian casualties, telling ABC News he believes the building was targeted.
I could tell immediately that this compound was deliberately targeted. I know since we've seen at least 7 different target points that were individually targeted by munitions within this compound, very, very clearly.
Israel says its forces weren't operating in the area. But 6 days since the attack, the US still looking into it, saying it would never deliberately target civilians.
We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
And for the first time tonight, we're seeing the moment a Kuwaiti warplane shot down an American F-15 fighter jet in video posted to TikTok. Flames shooting out of that US jet as it spiraled to the ground. One of 3 F-15s shot down the same day by friendly fire. Both pilots ejecting safely.
Thank you for helping us.
And tonight, relief for some Americans still stuck in the region. The US chartering a New England Patriots plane carrying hundreds of Americans home. Overall, at least 24,000 US citizens have left the Middle East since the war erupted.
Our thanks to Ian Pannell for that report. The White House was pressed today on President Trump's call for Iran's unconditional surrender. Trump has insisted there is no time limit on the war. And late today, he met with defense contractors about boosting weapons production. ABC's Mary Bruce is at the White House with more.
Amid growing questions over whether the U.S. has enough missile interceptors to protect American interests and at least 6 other allies in the region from a barrage of Iranian attacks, tonight, President Trump meeting with the nation's top defense contractors, urging them to boost production. The president has given no clear timetable for how long the war will last, but now says the end will require Iran's, quote, unconditional surrender. What does the president mean when he calls for unconditional surrender? Is he saying that the regime has to fully relinquish control?
What the president means is that when he, as commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, determines that Iran no longer poses a threat to the United States of America and the goals of Operation Epic Fury has been fully realized, then Iran will essentially be in a place of unconditional surrender.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying it doesn't much matter whether Iran actually says it surrenders or not. Tonight, the president telling Axios unconditional surrender could be that the Iranians announce it, but it could also be when they can't fight any longer because they don't have anyone or anything to fight with. The president says he will have to approve Iran's next leader, but he hasn't said how that would happen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has made this promise.
No nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise.
Tonight, Trump pledging the U.S. and allies will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before, adding, make Iran great again. The White House posting hype videos on their official X account, interspersing images of deadly American attacks with cartoons.
You want to see me do it again?
Action movie clips, and video games. Tonight, Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, who received a Purple Heart after losing both her legs in Iraq, posting, "War is not a video game. 6 Americans are dead and thousands more are at needless risk because of your illegal, unjustified war."
ABC News Live anchor Diane Macedo spoke with an American stranded in Qatar today. Shirley was on a layover when the war began and has been trying to get home ever since. Here's that conversation.
Oh my God, it's been surreal. I still can't believe that I'm actually here. It was just supposed to be a layover, and I am still here almost a week now. I wake up to the interception of missiles and drones every morning. It's been absolutely just horrifying.
What are you hearing about getting a flight?
Only with Qatar Airlines. They said if the airspace is open, we will, but there hasn't been any support from the U.S. government to help any kind. There's no evacuation plan that has been set to me or any of the Americans that I know that are here.
I know you've reached out to the embassy there and to your Congress members here. What are they telling you? Any luck there?
No, it's the same thing. I've done everything, called U.S. Embassy, all of the numbers that the Department of State have publicized. I've filled out the STEP program or the STEP form, the intake risk intake. I've done everything. I've even been able to get in touch with some of the council people in New York, the Senator Schumer's office. They have been pushing my information and other constituents to the Department of State, letting them know that we're here. But of course, they can only do so much, just waiting to hear back. But it's been a week and nothing. Or of course, 5 days, to be exact, but I see the Italian embassy is here. They have been here at the hotel talking to their citizens, the Spanish embassy, the Germans, the Dutch. The Germans have already had a charter bus that have taken them to Riyadh, and these people are now in Frankfurt. The Italians have been able to get home. The Spanish have been able to get home. I don't understand why the U.S. government, the one that I actually trusted the most, would not arrange anything for me to get back to the U.S. I'm in shock, absolutely in shock.
What's your biggest concern right now?
Getting out of here safely. I want to see my family. This was just a layover. I was supposed to be at my grandfather's funeral. I missed this. I was supposed to be in Colombia. This is not, and then head back to the US. I just want to be with my family. And number one, how am I going to get out of here safely on land with the US passport, being female? These are two layered concerns of mine, and then getting a flight safely out of here.
Do you have a backup plan if you can't get a flight?
Well, I have to find my own means. I've been searching for reliable resources. I can't just easily get any kind of car or any driver. I need to make sure that they are safe. So that's what I've been researching. I have been able to find some reliable sources. But now the Qatar, just before we started, I was notified that the Qatar Airlines is trying to get all of the passengers that are stranded to Riyadh. But that's going to take a while. And yeah, I don't know really what that's going to lead, or if maybe I should just get on my own private car with other people. I'm not going to go by myself. But that is my backup plan, because there's no other backup plan has been given to me.
And right after that conversation, Diane spoke with a Republican Congressman, Marlin Stutzman of Indiana, who discussed the cost of the war and offered to help Shirley. Take a listen.
A bipartisan think tank estimates the war cost taxpayers $891 million a day for the first 4 days of the attack. If this conflict drags on and the president asks Congress for more funding, would you vote to approve that?
I'll definitely take a look at it. And I want to just obviously see what the metrics are. We've had great conversations already. The objectives are being accomplished. We're ahead of schedule, as I was told. And so I think that, whatever happens over the next couple of weeks, if the president needs more to accomplish the mission, I would support that. I know our brave men and women who are carrying out this mission are just incredible and remarkable. And it shows that our military is truly the best in the world. And I want to support them any way that I can. And I want to support the mission of keeping America safe and giving the Iranian people a new chance in their country.
And Congressman, I'm not sure if you're able to hear my previous guest, but she was one of thousands of Americans stuck in the Middle East. She's stuck in Qatar right now. And she says, the Spanish embassy was here, the German embassy was here. They came, they got their people out, some on buses, and they're back home now. And she still can't even get a straight answer. What do you say to the criticism that there was a lack of planning to get Americans out before this operation was launched and not enough being done now to help them get back home?
Well, I saw Shirley's interview, and I would just tell you I know she's from New York, I'm from Indiana, but please have her reach out to my office. We will help facilitate. I know she's reached out to her senator's office, Senator Schumer, but I'd be happy to make sure that we get her in touch with somebody at the State Department. We've got good relationships over there, and we'll do everything we can to help her. I know that the State Department was prepared. They stood up a call center immediately Saturday morning. They knew this was coming. Obviously, this was going to be part of the consequences of the attack last week. And so they were ready for that. And they obviously, not everybody finds themselves in the right spot at the right time to make their way out, but people are being transported home. As I've talked to others personally, they are able to move around the Middle East in certain parts. So I have her reach out to my office, and I'd be happy to help.
Our thanks to Diane and our other ABC News Live colleagues for that. And coming up next, as the conflict in Iran intensifies, Israel has launched an attack on another one of its enemies, Hezbollah in Lebanon. We have the latest on the turmoil. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's no surprise the conflict in the Middle East has brought the fight to Lebanon, where Hezbollah, a proxy of the Iranian regime, has long used the missiles and drones they've received from Iran to fight Israel. Hezbollah was severely weakened in 2024 when Israeli bombing campaign in southern Lebanon killed many of Hezbollah's leaders and depleted their stockpile of munitions. Israel's renewed attacks on southern Lebanon this week appearing to further take advantage of a crippled Hezbollah. And our Matt Rivers reports from Beirut.
Iran and its proxies have attacked at least 11 countries in the past week, widening a war that began with the U.S.-Israeli attacks. But now Israel itself is seizing on an opportunity to try and deal a death blow to another of its enemies, Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah has long been Iran's proxy combatants in Lebanon.
We're very upset about this. We're not used to this kind of stuff. I think nobody's safe now in the Middle East. We've seen up to 2 days ago, UAE was maybe the safest country in the world. Now the entire Middle East
getting hit every night.
Yeah, so now I think nobody's safe.
The consequences for Lebanon's civilians have been severe. Israeli airstrikes targeting what it describes as Hezbollah infrastructure have hit residential neighborhoods in Beirut's southern suburbs, in Dahia, and in the south of the country. Dozens of Lebanese civilians have been killed so far and many more wounded in recent days. Its already fragile economy, burdened by years of financial crisis and infrastructure challenges, the country now faces shortages of shelter, food, and medical services. We traveled to a school called Bir Hassan Technical College, where we met families fleeing the chaos.
So between the 3 or 4 buildings here, there's roughly 2,000 people now living here. And what really strikes me is that you can hear right now the constant buzz of Israeli drones overhead. And it was just last night that just 500 meters from here, there was an airstrike.
Inside, life goes on. Daily prayers made, jokes between friends. This former classroom, once a place of learning, now offering safe harbor. The Jawad family have 2 young children, 1 and 5, and traveled for 3 days before arriving at Bir Hassan after they say Hezbollah urged them to evacuate. For decades, Lebanon has lived under the shadow of tensions with Israel and Hezbollah. The people of Lebanon, hostages in the tensions which restarted most recently in September of 2024, when explosives packed into pagers and walkie-talkies detonated over a 2-day period. Our Marcus Moore standing just feet from one such explosion.
We just heard a loud explosion.
The operation killed dozens of Hezbollah adherents, but also injured 4,000 civilians, according to the Lebanese government. Less than 2 weeks later, Israel invaded southern Lebanon, launching an aerial bombing campaign against Hezbollah from which it never recovered. And just since last weekend, the danger has resulted in 77 people killed, according to the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health, and has forced more mass displacement. According to United Nations agencies, more than 30,000 Lebanese have fled their homes, seeking shelter in schools like Bir Hassan. Now Hezbollah has formally entered the fray, launching missiles and drones into northern Israel in what it says is retaliation for Iran's losses. This has prompted a swift and severe response from Israel with airstrikes and limited ground operations in southern Lebanon. As families move northward, away from border regions and bombardment zones, many more are expected to be displaced if fighting continues. A highly unusual warning from the Israelis for entire neighborhoods to evacuate was released today, urging the hundreds of thousands of residents of Dahia, a stronghold of Hezbollah, to, quote, save your lives and evacuate your homes immediately. You are prohibited from heading south. Any southward movement could endanger your lives. We will inform you of the appropriate time to return to your homes. The warning prompting speculation and fear that Israel could carry out massive airstrikes soon.
It seems to me that the Israelis are trying to get the civilian population out of the way because they intend to unleash the full fury of their air force on Hezbollah. They intend to basically dismantle and destroy as much of Hezbollah's infrastructure with as little complication from the presence of civilians as possible.
Beyond the physical toll, the war has deepened political fissures within Lebanon. The government in Beirut has openly condemned Hezbollah's retaliation, calling its act unauthorized and illegal, and has demanded the group hand over its weapons. In Lebanon, civilians are bracing for more. And as the Iran war spreads, Lebanon's people, weary from previous conflicts, find themselves once again in the crossfire, displaced, mourning losses, and watching their nation's fragile stability unravel.
What do you hope happens next here? What will you do?
بتأمل إنه أرجع بيتي ويكون الوضع أحلى من هيك وحياة مستمرة ونرجع أشغالنا وأرزاقنا وبيوتنا ما بدناش إلا هيك وبدنا نعيش بأمان مش أكثر.
Our thanks to Matt for that report. And coming up after the break, we'll tell you how the disruption in the Middle East could end up disrupting your budget.